Oh, looking at Donald Trump's tweet about Kamala Harris supposedly refusing to participate in the Fox News debate. How predictable. He's spinning the narrative that Harris is backing out, like he's the one eager to stand on that debate stage and she's the one running scared. But we all know what's really happening here. Trump is terrified. He doesn't want to debate Kamala Harris because deep down, he knows she would wipe the floor with him. The idea of standing toe-to-toe with someone as sharp, as prepared, and as relentless as Kamala Harris has him shaking in his boots, and it's obvious. And then what does he do? He scurries over to Sean Hannity for a town hall instead. Of course. Where else would he go? Hannity is his comfort zone, his security blanket, the one place where he knows he won't be challenged or confronted with tough questions. Trump isn't gearing up for a debate. He's running scared, hiding in the only place where he can control the narrative and avoid any real confrontation. Honestly, this is just sad. For someone who loves to project strength and dominance, this behavior screams weakness. He's avoiding the fight, dodging the tough questions, and running straight into the arms of a friendly interviewer who will let him get away with anything. It's embarrassing. The man who used to boast about his big wins and tremendous strength now can't even muster the courage to stand up to Kamala Harris in a debate. And what's even more ridiculous is the way he tries to spin this story, like we're all going to fall for it. He's so desperate to avoid looking weak, but every move he makes only highlights how insecure he really is. Trump's campaign is in chaos, his confidence is crumbling, and it's all on display for the world to see. This is not strength. This is a desperate attempt to save face, and it's falling apart right before our eyes. Wow. ABC News confirmed both Trump and Kamala Harris agreed to debate on September 10th. Finally, Trump can't weasel his way out of this one. But of course, he had to go running to Truth Social with more nonsense, claiming Kamala would thumbs down a Fox debate. Seriously? This is classic Trump, throwing out baseless accusations to cover up his own insecurities. And then he goes on to accuse Kamala of flip-flopping on everything she once believed in. What a joke. Coming from someone who can't stick to a single coherent policy for more than 5 minutes, it's almost comical that he tries to paint Kamala as inconsistent when he's the one who can't stop contradicting himself every time he opens his mouth. But this is typical Trump. Deflect, attack, and hope that no one notices his own failures. What gets me the most is how desperate this all feels. He's flailing, grasping at straws, trying to find any excuse to undermine Kamala because he knows, deep down, that she's going to destroy him in that debate. It's almost sad watching him try so hard to convince himself and his supporters that he's still in control. But the more he lashes out, the more it becomes clear. Trump is terrified. He's running scared, and it shows in every word he types.
I think we can get there. I think the debate on September 10th is going to be so consequential, and it's going to have an audience that we can't believe, because what does America love? A train wreck. And they had one on June the 27th, and they want another train wreck.
Next, Donald Trump being terrified of debating Kamala Harris. He knows she would tear him apart on that stage, and the thought of it clearly has him trembling. And I'm not the only one who sees this. There have been so many leaks from his own campaign that confirm it. Trump is terrified of facing Kamala because he knows he's got nothing. No real arguments, no substance, just the same tired attacks that aren't going to work against someone as sharp as Kamala. I mean, why else would they be pushing so hard for a Fox News debate? It's like they're desperately trying to find a way to protect Trump from total humiliation. But honestly, they're stuck. If Trump does the debate, we all know what's going to happen. Kamala will absolutely mop the floor with him. She's going to expose every single one of his weaknesses, and he's going to be left floundering, embarrassed, and completely outclassed. And if he backs out, well, that's just going to confirm what we already know. He's scared, unfit, and completely unprepared to handle someone like Kamala Harris. What a disaster for him.
See debate. ABC debate.
If it happens, I still think it's an open question of
Really?
whether or not it happens.
Trump's going to go. He's got to.
You think that Trump is going to pull out?
I think Trump is nervous about it. I think I talked to a lot of sources in his world. I think he has really struggled with it. It's not just a narrative or a talking point from Democrats. He really has struggled with how to combat her. And I think going into that debate, he does not really want to do it. I think it's difficult, if not impossible, for him to pull out because his campaign manager had cards printed that said anywhere, anytime, any place for President Biden, and it would look weak, but I don't think he's looking.
Even Caitlin Collins from CNN brought it up on Bill Maher's show, saying how consequential this debate will be. Trump's absolutely terrified. Trump knows deep down that he doesn't stand a chance against Kamala, and it's eating him alive. I can just see him pacing around, trying to come up with some half-baked strategy, knowing full well that nothing he says will land against Kamala's sharp intellect and composure. What a nightmare for him. I mean, it's not just Democrats saying this. Caitlin talked to sources within his own world, and even they admit that Trump is struggling. He's in over his head, and it shows. The thought of standing on that debate stage with Kamala, knowing he's got no real arguments, no plan, just bluster and bravado, must be absolutely terrifying for him. How could he not be scared? She's everything he's not. Focused, intelligent, and poised, and that's exactly why this debate is going to be such a disaster for him. And the fact that his manager had the nerve to print cards saying, anywhere, anytime, any place for debates. Oh, the irony. Now, Trump's probably wishing he could back out of this debate altogether, but he knows that would make him look even weaker than he already does. He's trapped. And honestly, I love that he's stuck in this impossible situation. Whether he debates or not, it's going to be a lose-lose for him, and everyone can see it. The walls are closing in, and there's no escape for Donald Trump.
No, they really were nasty, and then they say to me, sir, please stick to policy. Don't stick to personality. You should be nice to people, sir. You have to be nice. I call them up, my geniuses, they get paid a fortune. Actually, not that much. But I call up my people. I say, they're knocking the hell out of me, and you say I shouldn't get personal. I have to get personal, don't I? I have to get personal. I have to get personal. They get personal. But I'm going to do my best. So they're allowed to get personal with me, but I'm not allowed to get personal to them.
Huh? Donald Trump is standing up there, whining about how people are being nasty to him, like he's the victim of some grand conspiracy. Seriously? Trump, the king of personal attacks, suddenly can't handle the heat when it's turned on him? Oh, give me a break. He's built his entire brand on being the bully, yet here he is, practically begging for sympathy because people dare to criticize him. It's so transparent, it's almost embarrassing to watch. And the way he tries to justify getting personal. I have to get personal, don't I? As if that's some brilliant strategy. No, Donald, you don't have to get personal. But it's clear that's all you've got. When you're out of ideas, out of policies, and out of arguments, what else can you do but attack others? It's a classic move from someone who's backed into a corner, and it just screams insecurity. Does he really think that getting personal is going to win him the debate against Kamala Harris? Please, she's way too sharp for that kind of nonsense. And can we talk about how he keeps calling his advisors geniuses with that sarcastic tone? It's almost as if he's mocking the very people trying to keep his campaign afloat. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about the chaos behind the scenes, I don't know what will. Trump is flailing, and it shows.
They call me names that are so bad. Our great First Lady says, but you're not that way, darling. They love our great First Lady, I will tell you that. They do. They do. But darling, you're not that way. I said, I know that. And if I say something just slightly out of order, like, she didn't do a very good job last night, please never, ever mention look or anything like that. If you ever say, she didn't look really great, that's the end of your political career, so I wouldn't say a thing like that.
Then Trump go on about the great First Lady, and his bizarre commentary on avoiding comments about looks just leaves me shaking my head. It's like he's trying to play the victim again, complaining about how unfairly he's treated, while simultaneously throwing in these strange asides about Melania. It's almost as if he's grasping for sympathy, but it comes across as so disingenuous. He's trying to position himself as this misunderstood figure who's simply being attacked by everyone else, but the reality is that it just sounds desperate. What's even more bizarre is this fixation on not saying something slightly out of order because it could supposedly end someone's political career. Does Trump honestly believe that people are hanging on his every word about how women look? Or is he so out of touch that he thinks this kind of rhetoric still flies in today's world? He seems completely oblivious to the fact that the public isn't interested in this kind of superficial nonsense anymore. And really, this whole speech feels like another attempt to distract from the fact that he's struggling on the debate front. Instead of addressing real issues or offering meaningful solutions, he's out here making odd comments about appearances and politeness, which only highlights how unprepared and unfit he is. This isn't leadership, it's a sideshow. The more he talks, the clearer it becomes that his focus is entirely misplaced. Where's the substance? Where's the plan? All we get are these erratic ramblings that serve no purpose other than to showcase his insecurities. The absurdity of it all would almost be amusing if it weren't so indicative of just how off-track his campaign is. In the end, what we're seeing is a man who's clearly out of his depth. Donald Trump is flailing, desperate to hold on to some semblance of control while everything around him crumbles. His ramblings, his constant need to deflect and distract, it all screams insecurity. And we see it, don't we? We see a man who's terrified of facing Kamala Harris, terrified of losing his grip on the narrative, and most of all, terrified of exposing just how weak his campaign truly is. It's hard not to feel a sense of satisfaction watching him scramble like this. But let's not just sit back and watch. Let's stay engaged. If you're as eager as I am to see how this all plays out, make sure you're subscribed to stay updated on every twist and turn of this chaotic political drama. Don't miss a moment as we continue to hold Trump accountable, dissect his every move, and call out the nonsense when we see it. Join the conversation. Subscribe now, and let's keep this momentum going together.